everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps, and this is Lunchtime Live episode 102. For those of you who are new, Lunchtime Live is my video newsletter for Stitches and Scraps. So first I'll tell you everything that's going on, everything that's coming up, and then we'll end with a quick demo. Now for 2022, I've been doing a stitch of the week, alternating between knit and crochet stitches. So today is a crochet day, and we will be doing the crochet bean stitch. So we'll get to that at the end of the episode. Hello, NC Lawson from Pennsylvania. What's your first name? I just have your initials. But it's good to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully lots more people will join in. Before we get started, if you're new here, as I start talking about stuff, like when I talk about product reviews and tutorials and stuff that I'm posting, hi Mary, good morning. Look in the description on this video and you're going to see a link to a blog post. In that blog post, I have a list. Hi Beth. I have a list of everything that I'm going to talk about. So when I show you, for example, this Vivilux light, I have a link to the review in that blog post. So anything I talk about, you can get to through that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me tell you what's new on the blog this week. The first thing is this Vivilux light. So this is, let me make sure the light's not glaring. There we go. This is the Vivilux LED task lamp. And I have shown you guys this before, but I finally got the review up on my site yesterday. I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. But this is the lamp. So it's got this gooseneck, which is really cool. I like the shape of this. It's oblong, so it doesn't give you like a point of light. It gives you like a field of light. And then the other cool features, it has a wireless charging pad where you can charge your phone. It's got 3 different colors of light. Let's see if they show here. That's white. That's, I think of it as yellow, warm. And then that is daylight. So they're slightly different shades of light. And it's got a charging port where you can charge this, because this runs off of a battery. So you can use it plugged in, or you can charge it up and carry it around the house with you, which is great. It does have an on-off switch. I've never turned it off. And it's got this USB port here, and then these are your charging indicators and an indicator for when something is on this pad. And that's basically the lamp. But I went into all the details about how I use it, what I use it for, gave some pictures of the quality of the light, that kind of stuff in the review, so check that out. And then of course, a review wouldn't be any fun without some sort of coupon code, right? So for this one, they gave me a coupon code to share with you guys that is not for this lamp, okay? So this lamp is one thing, but the coupon code they gave me actually will save you money on their lasers. So I saw these at the show, but I didn't take one. The way they worked it at the show, they had 4 lights that they offered us, and they said you can pick one of these. And so I picked the task lamp because I thought that would be the most useful, but I did play with all of them. And one of them is a laser, and it comes in red, green, or white, I believe. It comes in various colors. But it's got 3 different, like, I don't know, attachments or heads or whatever you want to call it, that give you either a point of light or crosshairs or a straight line. And I was watching some videos on this. When I was looking at it, I'm like, that's not useful. I don't need that. But then I was watching the videos of how they're actually using it, and oh my gosh, it's actually really amazing what they do. And they're using it mostly for quilting, but I can see the applications with yarn too. What they're doing is they attach it to like their sewing machine, and they will use it to mark a line on the fabric, or a line on the table or whatever, and it's like, okay, so line your edge up with this line and your seam will be perfect. Or this is exactly where I want the buttonhole to be, or these are the crosshairs where I want to turn my work, that kind of thing. It's useful for sewing, I guess, in that way. I don't know sewing well enough to know, to like have experience with using it for that, but I could see it being useful for lots of things there, for cutting, also cutting straight lines and all that kind of stuff. But I was thinking that line one would be super useful for trimming fringe. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't care what I do. I lay it out flat on the table. I block it first. I use my ruler. I use a little cutting mat with guides, and I try to cut the fringe straight, and it always like bounces back or changes a little bit. And I've got like that one nasty one that's like an inch too short, and I don't want to cut all the rest to that side. I mean, fringe is always, it's like, I'm just not good at it. But do you guys have that issue with fringe too? I can never get that perfect straight line with yarn. I can do it with thread, but with yarn in particular, because yarn is so springy, I can't seem to get that perfect straight line no matter what I do. And this, I think, because it wouldn't be putting pressure on it and pulling it out of shape, I think this would help me get that perfectly straight line. So I thought that would be a useful tool, but the coupon code he gave me was for that. So it's basically a little lamp. It's like a little battery pack with a little gooseneck that comes off it. So the whole thing's about this big. That it's a little laser light that creates those shapes. And you could, use it to play with your cat too. But there is a coupon code for that in the review. So check out this lamp, learn all about this lamp, and also check out this, honestly, I would buy this, you guys. In fact, I'm thinking of buying another one. My husband has watched me using this all over the house because I use it because it's so portable and it's so light. I take it wherever I'm working. And I don't necessarily have it on the whole time because, I'm not running the battery down. But if I'm sitting on the couch and I've got my big overhead light, that I'm working with, but then I want to get a good picture of like, oh, this stitch, I need to take a picture. Normally, I would have to get up, go downstairs to this video area here where the lighting is good and take my picture, and then go back upstairs to the couch, and Mark's waiting for me to start the show again. And but this, I keep it next to me, and this daylight is actually really good for taking those pictures. So I can take those pictures right on the couch. And so he's been watching me use this for that, for beading, for other stuff where you need like a really intense light. And he's like, I think I need one of those. So he's going to be borrowing mine. And if he likes it, which I think he will, we're going to be buying another one for him. So I am definitely not pushing something I wouldn't buy myself, because I am going to be buying another one, most likely, for my husband. So go there, check this out, buy it, and then also get a discount on the laser. So that is the review that I've got up on the site. As far as patterns, this one, which I showed you last week, it came out. This is all twisted now because I had it in the laundry, sorry. I've been using this a lot too. But this is my adult size bib. Sorry that it's a little wonky. Like I said, I've been using it and wearing it and throwing it in the laundry, and I didn't fold it nicely and neatly. There we go. Nice neat fold. So this is the adult size bib. This is the back of it that you're looking at. So it sits around your neck like that. And then this is there we go. That's better. And then this is the front. So it buttons on. It's real easy to put on and take off. I use it for makeup all the time, and I use it like when I'm shaving or stuff like that. Anything that gets a little bit messy. I have used it for eating too, because if you're eating like somebody, who is it? Freddie Goat. Freddie Goat said that they made one for eating pho and ramen because they can't seem to eat that without slurping all over themselves. So, and I do the same thing. And so spaghetti is another one that this would be good for. But see, it goes on just that easy. And then you can take it off and put it on without messing up your makeup, without messing up your hair. And it's just a bib. So that is the newest pattern that is on the site right now. The pattern I'm working on for next week is going to be that baby romper that I showed you last week. I haven't done anything further on it since last week, so I didn't bring it to show you. And then the other thing that is wrapping up, I want to say it's the 26th, but don't quote me on that because I might be wrong. All the details are actually in the post, but the giveaway for bag number, what are we on? Bag number 4 in the bag along cal. This is bag number 4. The giveaway for this ends pretty soon here, close to the end of the month. And what we're giving away is a set of hooks from We Crochet, as well as a hook gauge from Katrinkles, also provided by We Crochet. In fact, if you hold on 1 second, I will go, please pause, I will go get it and show it to you. Here we go. It was just on my other table, but this is the Bright crochet hook set. And then this one, I don't want to fiddle with this and take it out anymore, but this is the crochet hook sizing tool from Katrinkles. It's basically a size gauge that you can stick your hook into the grooves and see what size it is. So these are the prize, and the giveaway is ending soon. So make sure you get over there and get your entry in. The giveaway is always on the materials post when I start a new bag. So that is linked in that blog post in the description on this that you can see there. So in the description on this video. So go there and go ahead and sign up for the giveaway. Have all of you signed up yet? Mary, Beth, have all of you signed up for the giveaway? Let me know. If you haven't, then go do it because these are cool. I like these hooks. Okay, which means also that the next one is coming up. I'm doing that, technically it's for October, but it's going out September 30th because that's just the way the calendar fell and it was the right date. So the materials and giveaway will be posted for bag number 5 in September. Right, Beth, you do want that. You got to go sign up for that. Go enter the giveaway. It takes like 2 minutes. You got to put in your email and then you can get bonus entries for doing things like commenting and stuff like that. But even if you did all the entries, it would take you maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It's not complicated to enter. And the more entries, the more chances you have to win. So enter. Let's see. Let me look at my list and see if there's anything else that I'm working on that I forgot. Oh yes, there is. So somebody from H&H sent me a digital copy of a book that they published, and I've got to read it still. I've just glanced through it, but I will be reviewing that for you guys next week. This one is for all of my professional friends. If you make stuff to sell, or you want to make stuff to sell, if you've been doing the craft fairs, if you're, making whatever you've got that you want to make and sell, I know a lot of you do that kind of stuff. This book is about how to do that online. So you can turn that, I'm making beanies and selling them at the craft fair. You can turn that into an online business, which is probably going to cost you less than selling it at the craft fair, frankly. But it's an ebook about how to set that up. And I've got that. I'm not sure if there's a paperback version available as well. I know he's doing it through Amazon, but I think it's mostly just an ebook. But I've got that to read, and I will review that for you from the perspective of someone who does sell stuff online. Is this the information I would have liked to know when I was getting started? So if you've been thinking about that, that review's coming up. And then also he's got a free ebook that he just published called Blueprint for Selling Handmade Products. So that one, I guess, is a companion to the other one. Like I said, I haven't read them yet, but I'm going to be reading them and reviewing them for you guys. And I believe he gave me a coupon code for that too. So that's coming out, or he gave me a giveaway. I think he gave me a giveaway, but that's coming out next week. I've got to get that one done. And I have something really exciting coming up, but I'm still waiting for them to ship it to me, so I'm not going to tell you about it yet. But the book review, look for that one next week, along with the baby romper, because I will finish that, and then we'll work on bag number 5 by the end of the month. So that's pretty much what's coming up. If there's no questions, I'm going to jump into the stitch of the week. And the stitch of the week is crochet. Oh, hi, Helene. Good to see you. So the stitch of the week is the tease. I know. It's really cool. It's okay. So basically it's this company, GSJJ, and they make custom designed stuff. They've got a lot of different lines, but I'm getting some stuff from them. I'm getting some patches and I'm getting some pins, I believe, is what we've been talking about. And I'll be talking to you guys, like reviewing for you, not just like, hey, these are neat pins, but like I went through the design process with them. This is how it worked. This is how long it took to ship it to me. This is, this is kind of how the process works if you want to design your own thing and order some. And I think they'd be really cool, like particularly the patches, for if you do charity stuff or if you do stuff as gifts, to be able to make your own little patch that says, designed by Nana, and or crocheted by Nana, or crocheted with love, or something like that, and get 20 or 30 of them with your name on it, whatever you want. You can design it, and that way you can stick them onto your, like you can sew them onto a corner of whatever it is you're making. And they do all sorts of custom stuff, and if you get a decent quantity, the pricing seems pretty good. So I'm working with them on that. None of it's finalized, and it probably won't be out for a couple weeks, and I have to wait till I get the stuff from them so I can photograph it and get that out to you too. But that's in the works. So there you go. Now I'm not just teasing, Beth. You know what's coming up. But like I said, it's still early in the process with that, so that won't come out for a couple more weeks yet. In fact, we might be looking at like last week of September, or even what month is it? Last week of August, or even maybe the first week of September. Okay, so I'm jumping into bean stitch here. Now, bean stitch, it's a stitch I came to recently. Like, this is not one that I've been doing for years and years and years. I learned this one fairly recently. Every time I looked at it, I thought it was just puffs. It is not just puff stitches. It's actually a variation on the puff stitch that lets you work into the side of the puff stitch really easily to make it lean like that. It's working into the side of it is what makes it lean. So just like everything else I show you, I do it slightly differently than everyone else because I'm just like that and I can never follow directions. So most of the tutorials you see will tell you that you need a base. I like single crochet for this. You could do it off of chains, but what a pain. So I like the single crochet base for this, but they will tell you you need a base of an odd number. I'm going to tell you even number. Okay, and here is why. To my mind, okay, each of these beans is 2 stitches. Each of these beans crosses over 2 stitches. And then you have one edge stitch on this side and one edge stitch on that side. So it's always going to be a multiple of 2. Now with the odd number, people tell you to skip a stitch at the beginning of the row and to skip a stitch at the end of the row. And that to me changes the stitch count. So I don't like to do that. So I don't skip the stitch at the end of the row because I feel like that just looks better. It doesn't leave a gap. It looks better. Just on the setup row is where this happens. And I apologize, my gauge changed when I was making this because this part I made sitting at my desk and this part I made walking around the dog park with my dog with my yarn in my pocket because I needed to photograph it when I got home. So this is just a gauge issue here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here I have 10 single crochet stitches. And to start this, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And you can do like half double crochet is what I do, but you could do double crochets if you wanted it taller, or single crochets if you wanted these smushed a little more. I like half double crochet. So I'm going to do a half double crochet as my edge stitch. Okay. Now we start making the beans. Now the bean is 2 stitches, right? So you're going to skip the first stitch and put the next stitch, sorry. So it's the second stitch of the row. And you're going to put the bean into the following stitch. So no chains or anything. I'm just going to skip this stitch and work the bean into here. So let me zoom in a little bit. I always want to zoom in when I'm doing this. There we go. Okay. So a puff stitch, you would yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and you would keep doing that, right? The difference with the bean stitch is we're going to skip that first yarn over. And because we do that, it creates a triangle on the side of the stitch, which you will see later. But we're going to skip that first yarn over. We're just going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. Okay, now you'll sort of see when this closes off, this little hole will create a triangle that you can work into later because we didn't pull this yarn up to do that yarn over. Okay, So that's why it's important. You want to skip that first yarn over. Then after that, it continues like a puff stitch. So that was one loop I pulled up. Yarn over, pull up another loop, that's 2. Yarn over, pull up another loop, that's 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I've done that 5 times, which means I started with 1 loop on my hook. The first time I got 1 more loop on my hook, right, because there's no yarn over. So that's 2. And every time after that, so for 4 more times, I pulled up 2 loops because there was the yarn over and then the one that I pulled up. So that's 8 plus 2 is 10. There's 10 loops on your hook. If this was a puff stitch, you would have that extra yarn over and it would be 11 loops on your hook. So there's the difference between puff and bean. And I know it seems minor, but wait till the next row and you'll see. Yarn over, pull through all 10 loops on your hook, and then do a chain 1 to close. Now when you work back into the puff stitch, look at the top here. That chain is 1 stitch, and this part here, which is, we're going to call it the triangle, that is the 2nd stitch. So each puff covers 2 stitches, right? So we skip a stitch and then work the puff, and that's the 2 stitches we covered. Skip a stitch, work the puff. Don't do that first yarn over. I know it's tempting. Pull up a loop. Now we start yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 3. Yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 4. Yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 5. Okay? Yarn over, pull through all 10 loops, and chain 1 to close. Skip a stitch, do a bean. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through all 10, chain 1 to close. Skip a stitch, do a bean. Whoop. See, I always want to do that yarn over because I'm so used to puffs. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yarn over, and then chain 1 to close. Now this is where I am different from literally everybody else that I've looked at their YouTube videos on. To me, you skip the stitch first, then do the bean. So that's your 2 stitches, right? So 2 stitches, 2 stitches. Here's the last 2 stitches. Skip the stitch, do the bean. Now all I've got left is one stitch, and that's where I do the edge stitch, which makes the stitch count work the same, right? I started with 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Every other tutorial I've seen would have started with 11 and then skipped one more stitch here, and I just don't think that looks right. I think it screws your stitch count up, and it leaves you with a little gap, which I don't like on the first row. So I go even number of stitches, and I don't skip a stitch at the end. So that's where it's different. Make sure you're following your pattern, otherwise your stitch count will be off. Most patterns are going to tell you to skip a stitch over there. So just so you know, that's a quirk that I'm doing that's different from most of what I've seen. Okay, so now I've chained 1 and turned, and I'm going to do my edge stitch. My edge stitch is a half double crochet. Always in the first and last stitch, I'm doing a half double crochet. Okay, now let's look at the bean. Remember I told you there'd be a triangle? There's that triangle. Do you see it? So there's your bean, and there's that triangle. The whole reason you have this triangle is because we didn't pick up that loop to make the yarn over. If we'd done the yarn over, this would be sitting up there, and you'd have that gap there, and your puff stitch would be much more straight. So this is what makes it lean, okay? So we're skipping this stitch, which was the slip stitch, and we're doing our puff in the triangle, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you guys need me to do a slow bean stitch again so that you can see that, or is that motion something that you've gotten now? Let me know if you want me to do one real slow. But so now again, we're going to skip this stitch, which was that slip stitch on top, and we're going to do a bean. So the pattern's the same, right? It's skip 1 stitch and then do a bean. Skip 1 stitch, do a bean. And if you lose count, you count the loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got enough loops. And I close it. Chain 1 and skip this stitch and do the bean. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through all of them. Chain 1 to close. Skip this one and do another bean. I'll do this one slow, just in case you guys need to see it one more time. I know nobody said it, but just in case. because, you know, somebody might be watching the replay. Okay, so there's my triangle. Insert my hook and pull up a loop. That's 2 loops on my hook. Yarn over, that's 3. Pull up a loop, that's 4. Yarn over is 5. Pull up a loop, that's 6. Yarn over is 7. Pull up a loop is 8. Yarn over is 9. Pull up a loop is 10. So 10 loops on my hook, pull through, and then chain 1. Okay? Now that was my last bean, and I've only got the 1 stitch left. So remember, I'm not skipping anything, right? I'm just doing a half double crochet in the last stitch. So the pattern is the same on every single row. It is start with your edge stitch, and then it's skip a stitch, do a bean, skip a stitch, do a bean, skip a stitch, do a bean, all the way across to your last stitch where you just do your edge stitch. This row, again, it was the only difference is now instead of working into single crochets, I'm working into those triangle shaped stitches on the side of each bean. And you can see how this one's leaning this way, that one's leaning that way. When I turn it, now this one's leaning this way and the next row will lean that way. So you get that alternating leaning back and forth, and that gives you this bean stitch pattern. So that's the difference between beans and puffs. It's like a bean stitch is a puff stitch minus a yarn over, right? So I think of them as puffs, but you have to skip that yarn over to get that placement that you need to make it lean and do the cool thing that it does with the basket weave kind of like look. So that's the bean stitch. Any questions on that? Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm looking around to see if there's anything else I've forgotten to tell you guys about. Yeah, I think that's it. Make sure to enter that giveaway. Don't forget, because you can get this. You can get glare. Here, let me show you glare. You can get this here. The Brights crochet hook set, and the hooks are size J, which is 10, all the way down to 2 millimeters. So it's let's see, it looks like it skips F, so it goes E and G, and that's 7. This is the one I use all the time in between G and H. That's the 4.5 millimeter, and then 8, 9, and 10. So it goes in half millimeter increments is what it is, from 2 all the way up to 6 millimeters. Thank you for that explanation. I wasn't able to figure out the difference. You weren't able to figure out before, or you're not able to figure it out based on my explanation? Mary, just if you need me to show it again, I can. I think you're saying you weren't able to figure it out before and now you understand, but I just want to make sure. Before. Okay, good. So we're all on the same page. So yeah, get your entries in for this. Don't forget you want this set and plus this hook sizer from Katrinkles, which I love Katrinkle stuff. That's it. So I will just say have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.